when in the world did anything different come easy, right? And if you really believe in it, it's worth fighting for. Ultimately, most rebellion comes from art. Sometimes it's the artist's duty to be the rebel.
Hi all, it's Sailesh Ram, AsianCultureVulture.com. We're at the Cannes Film Festival, edition 78. I'm with the director, Shekhar Kapur, who's a bit more than the director these days, but we'll talk about that. Shekhar Kapur, welcome to AsianCultureVulture.com. How are you?
I'm really well, but there's nothing bit more than director. Everything else a little bit less.
So you made a fantastic speech yesterday for the opening of the Bharat pavilion. The opening line was "Cinema is dead." So tell us about why you wanted to say that.
As a director, you learn that the first shot of the opening of a film, you got to hold your audience. And so I've learned that. 95% of the young youth of this world, I'm just taking the US statistics right now, 95% of viewership on anything that is audiovisual is either TikTok or gaming or YouTube.
Yeah.
The rest of the 5%, or maybe I'm exaggerating, the rest of the 7% is divided between film and OTT and for all of Netflix and all of these Amazon things. That's less than 10% of the viewership. So we know where the youth is going. What the youth is saying is our time is our time.
Yeah.
What the youth is saying is that we want control over everything that we do. So they're designing films for second screen. So a second screen film is you're doing something, and then your phone is on, and every time the music goes loud or something, you look over and say, oh, that's what's happening. That's why I was saying yesterday is that you have to realize that what we do at the Cannes Film Festival, we have to protect it if we love it, because cinema is more and more an artistic choice. That's why a festival is important. And if we are to maintain some kind of peace in this world, it's important to tell stories. It's important to share stories with each other. And that's what festivals should be about, where everybody coming, because the film is a very, very effective way of telling a story. So if we can get people from all over the world watching each other's films, talking, telling each other, swapping stories, we understand each other more. We understand each other more, and maybe we will maintain some peace, because all of conflict arises from not understanding somebody else.
Yeah.
And then all stories come from fundamental myths. And the fundamental mythology of being human is the same all over the world.
Absolutely. So for the independent filmmaker who's here, what would you say to them when they see all this, the spectacle cinema like Tom Cruise and the whole business of cinema, and it feels a bit overwhelming when you've made a film and you want to get it out to the world, you believe in what you've just said, but everything is kind of working against you?
Well, that's why I think Cannes is so good. I mean, look at the film. One Indian filmmaker, Payal Kapadia, her film competed and won the second prize. All we imagine is like. Effectively, these are the films that people come to the Cannes Film Festival for. That's what I keep saying. Film festivals promote the independent film. They promote points of view. They promote what people really, really in their heart feel.
Recently, the Indian government hosted the World Audiovisual Entertainment Summit, known as WAVES, in Delhi, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a speech there, and you referenced it yesterday at your opening Bharat Pavilion speech. So can you tell us a little bit about WAVES and what it means to India and the Indian government?
India is full of people desperately trying to creatively express themselves, and they do. WAVES is embracing the creative economy of India, putting it all together and giving it value. And this is what the Prime Minister's vision was. WAVES is let's get all content, whether you're writing a poem or you're a podcaster or you're an animator or you're a gamer, you put all of that. So if you just want to define it, we have the largest number of content creators in India. We have the largest number of technologists in India. It's technology and content together to drive the economy further.
The consumption of content is incredible
huge
in India,
and the desire for consumption of content is huge.
Yeah,
it's a great driver of the economy. It's a great driver of growth. It's a great driver for the betterment of the people of the nation.
You're the director of the International Film Festival of India. What does India want to do with its film festival?
We want to make the Indian Film Festival one of the most, it's number 15 right now. We want to bring it into the top 5. What do we need to do to bring it into the top 5? We need to get the best filmmakers wanting to come, right? We also need to add in the film festival this year. I'm pushing it to add AI films, as a whole thing, because the way the creating of films out of artificial intelligence, out of AI, is huge everywhere I'm watching, and you can't tell. I often can't tell, right?
And you don't find that a worrying development? A lot of people worried by it?
Of course you're worried. Every new technology is worrying because it means change. When they went from silent movies, to sound, people said cinema is dead.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
When they went from film to digital, they said cinema is dead. And when people said, but cinema is real, I said, yeah, really? If it's that real, why do I, every time when I start to set up a shot, my cinematographer spends an hour saying, well, put a shadow there. The light on her face is not right. Put a shadow there. We're creating a cinematic look.
So you think we should embrace it?
Number one, we will have a choice. We can fight against it. Yes, of course. There is, of course, all the actors are now creating, they are copywriting themselves. It's not a technology we can fight. The thing is, how best can we adapt to it? What can we take from it? I can show you AI films of about half an hour now, and you won't be able to tell. And they were made in like 48 hours. If I went out to shoot them, I'd take 2 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The issue with everybody AI is because it's all what they call scraping of data. It scraped data from everywhere. Yeah, I understand. So we need is some idea of copyright laws, but we can't beat it. So we have to find ways, embrace it, love it, and then find how to make it more artistic and more artistic.
And of course, Shekhar Kapur, I have to ask you about MAsoon 2 or what film projects you're working on now.
It's actually about identity. Almost everybody I know in this world, we're all, in a way, immigrants to somewhere. We're migrants, all of us.
Right.
India is full of migrants. My parents came after partition, but almost everybody has moved. Yeah. And when everybody has moved, so where is home?
What would be your message to people looking on the Cannes Film Festival, thinking there are not as many Indian films as there were last year? I don't know whether you've seen all the Indian films that were here last year. Obviously, All We Imagine Life, Santosh, and then the issue, I think that comes up a lot with filming in India. Now India has made it a lot easier to film in India, is the whole thing of censorship and how the Central Board for Film Classification works in India.
Indian films came out of a very, very, very traditional art. It was called the art of the Nautanki. What happened was that players, traveling theaters, they would go from village to village to village to village and do a festival of normally the Ram Leela, but 6-7 days. And they would pick up actors from that village and they would sing songs, probably take songs from the village singers and make it a kind of an entertainment and tell a story. We adapted that to film. Now, because it was so entrenched as a folk art, it's very difficult to let go, right? And so what people say, oh, Bollywood is song and drama, it's not that. It came from a very, very traditional folk art. And so we as audiences love it. But it's difficult to come and constantly sell it because they say, well, why don't you make serious films? Why are you doing all the song and dance?
Yeah.
Because that's who we are.
Exactly.
The first band in India was me.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And
but now people can watch it.
Yeah,
freely.
Yeah.
So,
but I had to go through the Supreme Court.
So how do filmmakers deal with that? Because a lot of them, I know from the UK, want to shoot in India, but then they get worried about, obviously the finance is a different matter, but now there's more encouragement and there seems to be a much better environment. People are willing for filmmakers to come to India and make their films there, but then they worry about will I make the film I want to make?
Well, we should all ask ourselves one question. Is difference worth fighting for? When in the world did anything different come easy? Right? And if you really believe in it, it's worth fighting for. Indeed. And so, no, if it's worth fighting for, if you really believe in it, then let's fight. Yeah. Let's argue. Let's do the best we can. Yeah. Ultimately, most rebellion comes from art. sometimes it's the artist's duty to be the rebel. Audiences drive festivals. Audiences drive storytelling, right? And I find it very much the same that way. It's thankfully one of those festivals that's hung on, to what it's about, which is independent cinema.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shekhar.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.